All right, mi amigos, welcome to the All In CrossFit Podcast. This is episode number 16. All right, we had some technical difficulties last week, so this is the real episode 16. I just want to go ahead and point out that today's episode is going to have a lot of speculation. A lot of speculation on our part. We're going to dive into the recent...
Strictly facts. Strictly facts.
We're going to dive into the recent lawsuits that CrossFit is involved in, one being with the NSCA, the National Strength and Conditioning Association, and one being with the almighty Reebok, the title sponsor of the games. But let's go ahead and touch on the NSCA lawsuit. So it was just, it just brought this back up. This is an old lawsuit that's just been ongoing for a while. Since 2013, the NSCA posted an article saying that, just misusing some information they received from their study, and they deemed that CrossFit was too risky for the general public. Okay, they said that the people that were participants in the study either didn't finish because they lost interest in the workout routine, or that they had overuse injuries, which was totally made up. And so what happened with that is that CrossFit fought them in court and sued them, and they actually won. So then they had to republish another article stating that they misspoke in their previous article, and they just basically had to backtrack, and then they were supposed to pay for CrossFit's legal fees. Okay, so
Is that all they asked for?
Yeah, that was all they asked for. They wanted them to reprint it to, kind of clear the air, and republish an article saying that their information was wrong and that people actually showed increases in their VO2 max and improved body composition. All right, that's what CrossFit wanted them to publish, and so they did in 2015. But they also they were supposed to pay CrossFit's legal fees, which they never did.
Do we know what those legal fees were?
I think it's like it totaled up to $75,000. And so So since they didn't pay, now it's become new knowledge. All right, that's what everyone's hearing about right now. It's not a new lawsuit.
Right, yeah. CrossFit just brought it back up on their Instagram the other day.
Yeah.
And it's because the NSCA's insurance company would not fund them because of the faulty claim.
Right.
And so that's the issue with the payment coming to CrossFit.
Yeah, the insurance company doesn't want to pay because they said that it was false advertising against CrossFit. So it doesn't it's not like it's
not covered in their policy.
Yeah, it's not covered in their policy because the company, the NSCA, knowingly published false information. So if they would have accidentally faced, then they would have been covered.
It's covered, yeah.
Yeah, but since they decided to just slander, so they don't want to be held liable. They don't want to pay the policy, and the NSCA is basically just lost their insurance company. Because that puts them in a bind.
But it's unfortunate. I think one of the reasons why they're bringing that back up is they're making this big push against Big Sugar and everything up on, Capitol Hill. Mm-hmm. And so, a big part of what is CrossFit and their advertising is how you're portrayed.
Right.
And so then you have studies like this that people will quote, say like, hey, well, I read this from the NSCA. Mm-hmm. You think that's a reliable source, but here it is. That's straight slander.
Straight slander. And we've all Googled CrossFit, like what is CrossFit or CrossFit, and the majority of things that come up first are negatives.
Yeah, look at all the YouTube videos that pop up.
So many YouTube videos. And it's just, most of it, there's no validity to the vast majority of it. It's all clickbait, but that's what's gaining traction. So CrossFit really does a good job of fighting against that.
Yeah.
And I applaud them because, if someone wants to come to All In, the first thing they're going to do is Google CrossFit, or their buddy tells them about CrossFit, and then they go Google CrossFit and see people dying of rhabdo when not many people if any, have died from rhabdo in CrossFit. I know there have been some extreme cases, but when you do some digging, you find out that most of that is with, military personnel going on long rucks and, being at points of starvation before they experience death as a symptom from rhabdo.
Well, CrossFit, they get a bad rap because people do occasionally get hurt doing CrossFit, but that's not because that's just from being active in general.
Sport.
It's just because oftentimes people come from doing nothing to doing CrossFit. So yeah, you're going to get more injured than you would sitting on your couch, but you're not necessarily going to get more injured than you would playing basketball or
Running.
any other. Yeah.
Running being the
Literally,
the
I
highest
just
percent,
messed up my knee
the highest
last
percent of
week.
injuries.
I messed up my knee last week playing basketball.
Yeah.
I've been doing CrossFit for 5 years. I've never got hurt doing CrossFit aside from like ripping my hands and stuff.
Have you ever been injured outside of CrossFit, like in another sport in CrossFit, and had your doctor tell you to stop playing that sport?
Football.
It's-
Football.
But almost since that's an extreme case because usually it's like, oh, let's patch you up and we'll get you back on the
Yeah.
field. But almost
Yeah.
in most of the cases that I've heard of people going to their doctor, because they've had some kind of injury with CrossFit, the first thing their doctor says is, well, maybe you shouldn't do CrossFit.
Yeah.
I mean, who does that? When, in my experience, I found that most injuries that occur in a CrossFit gym didn't really happen here. It's coming from some previous injury that someone's already had that CrossFit is just exposing,
Yeah.
Because the first thing that we do is when you're not trying to get back into a sport or you're not playing a sport for a high school team or college or anything like that, it's like, oh, well, I sprained my ankle, so I'm just not going to walk for a couple of days. I'm going to hang out on the couch, veg out, and then you start to lose function of that ankle and then, 5 years down the road, you decide you want to get in shape again. As his ankle pops. 5 years down the road, you decide you want to get in shape again. Well, you lost all that function in the ankle, and now you're trying to squat below parallel, and ankle mobility has a big factor in that. Your ankle sucks, so then it hurts. You go to the doctor, he's going to say, well, you should stop doing CrossFit. Well, really, you should have got it taken care of 10 years ago. And I think that is where CrossFit gets such a bad rap, is that, first of all, people don't acknowledge that they have pre-existing injuries or complications in movement, and then something flares up, they go to a doctor, and the doctor's like, oh, you should just quit doing that.
Enter CrossFit MDL1, where they're doing the level ones just for doctors now.
Oh yeah, that is it. Have you you read anything on that? I haven't seen a whole
Listen to a
lot
couple
of
podcasts
Yeah.
where they have a couple of the doctors on, and they're just trying to encourage doctors to come get their level one,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah, and that's all whole part of this like marketing strategy. When you have that negative material out there, it's especially something that is completely false.
Mm-hmm.
They took their study and just completely manipulated it to whatever they wanted to happen.
Yeah.
And so, there you have the good side of them marketing for CrossFit, bringing in the doctors
Yeah.
and getting folks in the medical field to be able to experience this, and they would be more than likely outspoken pro CrossFit. But then you have groups like this that is going to hurt the brand. I mean, it's a company.
Oh yeah.
Marketing company.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you look at like the NSCA, if you start to dig deep into their finances or whatever, they're funded by some of these companies. Like I think it's Coca-Cola or some soda company. They're funded by them.
Yeah.
Funded by some of the same people that CrossFit's fighting. So it's to their benefit to try to let some air out of the CrossFit sail.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate when you look at a lot of different organizations that provide funding for research, and we even see it in our scientific field, in which you have like climate data, and you have these government agencies that are providing funding. Well, they have these special interest groups that are providing them the money to send to universities, and so sometimes that data is you're supposed to push a certain agenda.
Yeah.
Which I think is exactly what we saw here.
Right. NSCA had to save their own butts because CrossFit is growing. And I don't know why they would feel threatened. The NSCA in their textbook, they teach people, they're teaching and preaching squatting, Olympic lifts, not so much the gymnastics, but, things to increase your cardiovascular endurance. I mean, there's even some high intensity interval training written in the NSCA's textbook. So I don't know why they would be fighting CrossFit, because CrossFit has done nothing but bring more people, especially women, but just more people in general back to that type of working out. Like more people are squatting now, more people are doing the Olympic lifts. Hell, it's like almost completely resurrected Olympic weightlifting or weightlifting in the United States. All the top lifters these days are coming out of CrossFit gyms. And before CrossFit, weightlifting was dying. People weren't squatting. Everyone was exercising on machines or just not working out at all, because that's kind of boring.
Yeah.
And you would think they would be applauding CrossFit, but they got to pad their pockets. So
That is true.
feel a little threatened, get a little scared, start slandering, talking trash. So, anything else? Did we miss anything on the NSCA?
No, I think that covered it. So both of these, I guess, articles or the links to these will add to the description below if anybody wants to read for themselves.
Yeah.
Because the one that I'm going to read about for Reebok is actually from Flow Elite.
Oh yeah.
And so I know they've got a podcast or a post out on YouTube with it. So we're going to make sure we post that so you can check theirs out.
Got to give them creds.
Yeah, give them the creds on that. But yeah, I think that covers.
Have our own lawsuit if we don't.
Yeah. But I
Don't
think
sue us.
I think that covers pretty much
Speculation.
for us what it seems like that the NSCA was getting at.
Yeah.
Of why they published that data the way that they did.
Yeah.
And then ultimately the backlash that's come upon them now, in which the insurance company's not even going to cover them. Because they're saying, and they're having to go through their own lawsuit with their insurance company.
With the insurance company.
Yeah.
So I mean, not only are they still have to pay CrossFit, you know,
and now their insurance
$75,000.
company's like, well, you know, this is going to get us out because this is false claims.
And so they've already paid, you know, hundreds of thousands in fees for whatever leading up to this point, and now they're trying to get that money back for themselves as well. So NSCA is in trouble, but so is Reebok.
Yeah.
You know, Reebok. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you have already seen it.
Yeah, and that's the hot topic right now.
Yeah, it's
especially
like-
I mean the games are coming up too. And so,
2018.
yeah, it's not.
It's coming August, right?
Yeah, pretty strategic.
First week of
yeah,
August.
first week of August. So it's pretty strategic them dropping all this at the time. But this is the article from Flow Elite, pretty much covering that lawsuit. And so CrossFit filed against Reebok for breach of contract, breach of covenant of good faith and fair dealing, and then Massachusetts general law. So brief background, Reebok has been CrossFit's licensee partner since 2010, and this gave Reebok the right to sell apparel and footwear and more using the CrossFit trademark. Exclusively. So like CrossFit themselves couldn't even sell their own logo.
Right.
It all had to go through Reebok in hope of this fair deal. And so since Reebok was the exclusive licensee, CrossFit couldn't produce apparel or shoes using the CrossFit trademark. In exchange, Reebok would pay royalties on net sales of the products, as well as market the products according to an annual schedule. So something that they had already predetermined with CrossFit. Mm-hmm. So in the suit, it states that Reebok secretly reneged on the terms of the agreement without speaking to CrossFit, and they began calculating royalties on a fictional wholesale equivalent price. So ultimately, what Reebok started to do, instead of the retail price, which would be 2 times as much as opposed to the wholesale, they just started calculating what they owed CrossFit on their own terms. And so that's what CrossFit is suing Reebok over.
Yeah.
And then also, it says that the suit claims that they cut it by 50%. Also, Reebok knew that this never agreed upon calculation was likely to go unnoticed by CrossFit due to the rapid growth of sales of the licensed products, because CrossFit is growing.
Yeah.
And that Reebok's royalty report never stated whether net sales were based on the wholesale price or the retail prices.
They thought it was just going to be
They thought they were
taking
gonna
candy
do it.
from a
Well,
baby.
Look at the company, Reebok as a company. They had, at the time, they were still marketing or coming up with the NFL. They had NFL's whole market.
Yeah.
But then, they had NFL too.
Yeah, they had both of them.
Oh, okay. But still, I mean, in the public eye, Reebok was a dying company.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, Under Armour's coming up right about this time, starting to make a lot more products,
Yeah.
shoes as well. Nike has got their foothold, already in. And so, what in the world was Reebok thinking when it came to this? I mean, you've literally got something that is,
Your lifeline.
boosted your entire company.
And at this point, they were about to lose the NFL. Which,
Nike's got it now. So
yeah.
it's right at that exchange, which that makes no sense.
Yeah, so they were definitely needed CrossFit.
Yeah, and so the way that Reebok found,
And they were bought by Adidas. Adidas was trying to help them, right? Did that happen after or before?
Yeah, I can't remember what year that was.
Speculation. But I think that Adidas owns
Yeah,
Reebok.
that's outside of the scope of.
Yeah, I really think that Adidas bought Reebok to try to, throw their marketing spin on it. Yeah, we can fact check. But yeah, I really think that Adidas, at some point, I'm speculating that Adidas bought Reebok because Adidas' company was growing, and they figured, all right, we can buy Reebok and use some of our marketing strategies to also help them.
It's
So,
kind of
yeah.
like what tech companies are starting to do with all these startups.
Yeah.
Is you absorb,
In August 2005, Adidas acquired Reebok as a subsidiary.
There you go.
That's it. That was before then.
Way before. So even with being bought by Adidas, Reebok was still struggling.
Yeah.
So
And so one of the reasons why, so according to the suit, Reebok in a royalty reconciliation document admitted that it had been making royalty payments by calculating royalty at half the net sales for the e-com channel, resulting in a payment shortfall of $1.65 million. Reebok also refused to pay that shortfall, but did start paying the royalties like they were supposed to until they reverted back to their old calculation theory by the end of 2017. So they just straight up said, okay, we're not paying what we shorted you, but we'll start now. However, the underpayment has now risen up to $4.8 million, including interest. So this is like completely different. They're not just asking for the lawyer fees from Reebok. They want CrossFit wants to get paid what they are owed, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
So Reebok shorted.
I would want $5 million.
Yeah.
Reebok knowingly shorted CrossFit.
Yep.
And then admitted to shorting them. And they were like, all right, we're gonna do it fair and square from here on out. And then start shorting them again.
Yeah, short them again.
And
So then comes
Once
back.
a cheater, always a cheater.
So what's the total amount that Reebok owes CrossFit right now?
I think it's somewhere around $5 million.
Jeez. And so they're in court right now.
Yeah, I believe
Right,
so.
there-
But
this is-
also, so another reason why CrossFit is coming after them, so you know the wholesale price is going to differ from the retail price, but also Reebok knew that it wasn't going to be. Well, no, we already mentioned that, but they were supposed to market on CrossFit's store, the store.crossfit.com. And so they started actually pushing more over to their own website. So if
You mean like they were pushing more? Are they supposed to selling stuff?
Yeah,
Is that what you mean by market? Like so they were supposed to sell, like have inventory. So was Reebok responsible for the CrossFit store's inventory as well?
Yes, they were supposed to cover that. So it claims that Reebok deliberately failed to appropriately market and stock CrossFit branded products on store.crossfit.com, which was operated by Reebok.
Yeah.
While at the same time promoting and fully stocking the same products on Reebok.com, and all sales through store.crossfit.com got a higher royalty payment, which was 10% more than they owed if it was sold through Reebok. And so they shorted them even more on the e-commerce side.
So they were basically
shorting them
just
50% on all sales, and then also they were not pushing the marketing and sales through CrossFit's
Driving
store.
sales back to
Exactly.
themselves.
They were bringing it back to themselves so that they would pay 10% less.
And you know, I mean, I think that there's a level. Reebok offers a level one instructor. Anyone who has a level 1 certification gets a discount through Reebok, but they can't apply that to the CrossFit store.
Yeah.
I think that's a little fishy too.
It is.
Like, why isn't it? If
But that's
everybody's
probably,
Reebok.
and I don't know, we'd probably have to look into the structure of the contract, but they may have
Yeah.
had something with CrossFit that said, hey, you know, because of this, we'll let, you know, it's all marketing, so we'll let your level 1 trainers get a 15%, or was it 15?
25.
No, 25% discount.
Yeah,
for
but I mean,
us.
think about that though. How many people are gonna, like, if you're at a gym and you know that your coach gets a 25% discount from Reebok, you're not gonna go to store.crossfit.com.
Yeah.
You're just gonna go. You're gonna say, hey man, hook me up with a coupon code.
Right,
or
but
something.
still at the same time, you're supposed to be sending 50% of that to CrossFit still.
Yeah.
It's just 10% more would be added if it was bought through store.crossfit.com.
Yeah.
So with
It's 10% from store and then 5%. So it's only 5%
Okay,
difference.
all right.
10% versus 5%.
Gotcha. And so if CrossFit as a company, if they say, okay, well, sure, yeah, y'all can, our level 1 can get, 25% discount, ultimately that's going to be sending more money back to them, because if Reebok splits it 50%, then even though you're not sending them through your store, you're still getting money. And so you're more likely to buy, like you said, at 25% discount, and so that may generate more sales,
Right.
because ultimately that money's supposed to be coming back to you,
Yeah.
at least part of it, which it wasn't for sure.
Yeah. So what does that mean? Like, what's gonna happen? What's the scenario?
Well, I mean,
are we looking
Flow
at?
Elite closed up their article by saying Nike Games 2019, but we know that they have it through, what year did we say?
2020.
2020.
Yeah. So 2020 is it's the end of the contract.
But
I have heard.
speculation?
It's just speculation, but I've heard through the grapevine that everything is full tilt right now for Reebok providing uniforms and apparel for all the games athletes.
This year.
It's still going to be the Reebok CrossFit Games in August.
You hate to see it.
But
So everything's in play. Everything is status quo as of right now.
Are we going to cover the whole, like, what
scenarios?
the options are?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like,
Yeah.
what are the options going for? Because what I've heard is that there's three options in play. It's one, the contract can be completely null and void, and they go back to square one. CrossFit's probably courting another sponsor, major sponsor. The second one,
Based out of Oregon?
No, I hope not.
511. No, they're not based on that. The second
Castro would
option
probably pick
being
them up.
Reebok could lose its place as the title sponsor of the games, but CrossFit couldn't find anyone else to become the title sponsor who is a direct competitor of Reebok. So that would knock out that awesome place in Oregon, that other company that owns Reebok, several other companies, but could open the door.
Yeah, we might as well say Nike. But
Nike.com will be a link in the bottom of the podcast, just in case. But that would open it up for someone like a Rogue to come in, because it's already in place. Rogue has become the title sponsor for USA weightlifting. Lots of powerlifting competitions are being put on by Rogue, so it would make sense for somebody like that to come in.
I can understand from apparel, but what are you gonna do about shoes?
Open it up. Everyone. You got people
Let them wear what they want.
Yeah, people are making money these days based off of their shoe sponsor. So if somebody's with Reebok, let them wear their Reeboks. If someone's wearing Nikes,
Yeah, like
let them wear Nikes.
Nike has their NBA rights, but players don't have to wear Nike shoes.
But they get fined.
No,
They don't get fined.
CrossFit's the only sport where you can't wear whatever footwear you want. And all other ones, no matter what apparel company has rights for the league, you can still wear whatever footwear you want.
That may be the
And
direction it goes.
any kind of apparel that isn't provided by that apparel sponsor.
Yeah.
So
Because you could wear like the Ray-Ban knee sleeves, but they used to tape over the logo, but you could still wear that product, but you can't shoes.
yeah, but see, Reebok made knee sleeves, I think, or somewhere in there. Nobody wears them.
Right.
They eventually got to where they instead of making you tape over, they just stamped Reebok CrossFit Games on there.
Yeah, well, yeah,
because
this
Ray-Ban
was-
became. This
right.
was before Ray-Ban
Right.
became
This
a
was
sponsor.
before that. What
of the
I'm saying is
CrossFit
it was
Games.
complete logo cover up.
Yeah, because the way they do it, if you wanted your stuff on the floor, you had to go ahead and pony up, pay some money, and become a sponsor.
Yeah.
To some degree,
Yeah.
and then
Reed.
like Gators.
But I was about to say, look at what they're doing with the Open now. Every single Open event, live event, has got a new sponsor,
Oh yeah,
and so then those products are now brought into the loop.
yeah,
But it's not an apparel.
right. Reebok is still the
Yeah.
exclusive provider of apparel.
Yeah.
So with that said, if they decided to take Reebok off as the title sponsor, they could open it up to someone who isn't a direct competitor, but that would extend Reebok's hold on the exclusive apparel rights until 2025.
God, I hope that doesn't happen.
If they opened it up,
Yeah.
it's part of the contract.
So if they decide they don't want Reebok to be a title sponsor anymore, they can sell that off to someone else. But that would extend. Reebok would still have the hold on providing all the apparel
Yeah.
until 2025. So
Surely CrossFit wants to completely void it, right?
if they were going to do anything,
Yeah. Because I feel like
Yeah.
But I feel like at this point, the third option is obvious. They just Reebok pays CrossFit, and then they just keep on going business as usual until a contract
I was
comes
about
up.
to say until it ends in 2 years.
Yeah, but if they were going to get rid of them at all, I would say let's just rip this whole contract out. But I don't know if by doing that, then does Reebok still have to pay it? 'Cause, almost $5 million is a lot of money to just throw away. To then have to renegotiate.
Yeah.
I don't know what CrossFit's current value is. What percent? 5%?
What,
5
5
million?
million?
Yeah, what percentage?
Well,
5
$5
million
million
would
mean in CrossFit. I don't know, but that's the only option right there. You either take the money and keep operating as usual. You get rid of Reebok completely, but they still have apparel rights. And then I'm sure there'll probably still be the same problems. From here until 2025, they might just decide, all right, well, we're going
be.
to knock some a percentage off of that decimal.
Yeah.
Knock the numbers down a little bit. So, I don't know.
There's going to be a lot happening here in the near future.
I personally would like to see everybody treated fairly.
World peace.
World peace. I would like to see. Because CrossFit saved Reebok, but at the same time, no one else was coming in giving CrossFit the type
Yeah.
of deal that Reebok was giving.
Yeah, Reebok
You know.
saved CrossFit, and CrossFit saved Reebok.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, let me
I would
ask you
say I
this.
will say that CrossFit saved Reebok, but Reebok gave CrossFit like global
Yeah,
exposure.
and they've got athletes. There's Reebok athletes as well. So if you win the games, you get a 1-year contract. Is that right?
Yeah, just about. No, I think everyone who makes it
Oh,
to the
everyone,
games is
okay.
on
And
like
so,
a
yeah.
6-month contract
Yeah.
with Reebok.
So I mean, there's a lot of athletes that are going to
What
be
if
tied
you're
into this as well.
Already Nike.
Oh, obviously you turn that down.
Yeah, why don't you go ask Matt?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's worked into their contracts. Like, hey, if you win the games, you have to turn down the contract with Reebok.
But I mean, I'm sure it's like any other shoe contract for any athlete. Like you get bonuses for accomplishing certain things within your sport.
Yeah.
You know, so like qualify for the CrossFit Games. I'm sure they pad your pockets a little bit for that. You finish at top 20, top 15, top 10, on up top 5. You win. You know,
I'll let you know in a couple of years.
Games 2020, John Germany. So I mean, I don't know. Reebok and CrossFit have existed peacefully at some point, and it's done a lot for the sport. I feel like having Reebok a part of it has done a lot for the affiliate as well. So to see it just completely go would be a big change, and change is awkward for a little bit. But
yeah, I'm sure their lawyers will work it out. They'll probably work out a payment plan.
But on the flip side, though, man, like you make it to the CrossFit Games and you've been wearing Nike all year long, and that's who you're sponsored by, you should be able to wear your Nikes. I've never agreed with that rule, ever. So,
Dude, what is wrong with your ankle?
A lot.
so what else you got?
That's pretty much it, man.
You got any upcoming competitions?
None.
None. John?
Just a lot of travel.
I know Kevin was talking about that one. Where was that one?
Pratt?
Coleman,
In Coleman.
right?
I think they're changed tunes. Now they're talking about
That
Summer
was-
Swole Mates.
That was 4th of
Where is
July.
that?
That was 4th of July week,
Prattville.
right?
Yeah, same
When?
week as 4th of July.
Oh,
July 21st. Summer Swole Mates, July 21st. I think that's the next competition that people are going to be trying
My buddy mine wants me to do
to
one.
get some groups.
Where's that
August.
at?
Prattville.
That's just up the road.
You're right up the road. Kind of cool though. I mean, like
Y'all did last
it
year,
is kind
right?
of cool. Yeah, we went last year and it was at night. So I mean, that was kind of fun in a football stadium.
That would be awesome.
It was
I remember
kinda
seeing all
fun.
those- I remember seeing all those pictures.
Only drawback though, like for me personally, was that Sadie was like weeks old,
Yeah. And now she's.
and she went. Now she's won,
Speaking
and
of which, we had that birthday party for Sadie.
we did have a big
We haven't
birthday
had a
party.
podcast since then.
Have not. Sadie has not been on a podcast since then either.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
I'd be losing viewers.
the next question on our next podcast will be, when will
And
Sadie have a sibling?
that'll
When
do
will
it for
Sadie
this.
have a sibling? Y'all comment when you think Sadie should have a brother.
So you just dropping the sister? No sister? Just straight
No,
brother?
no, definitely not sister.
So how are we gonna do that? Gene selection?
Yep.
That's another podcast.
Medicine. You would do it.
That's another podcast.
Yeah.
Modern medicine and gene
We'll
selection.
dive into that. We may branch off.
Yeah.
Have our own little medical podcast.
We'll get a geneticist up in here.
Do you know any?
Find one.
We found one on campus.
Oh yeah.
Craigslist.
We've got a connection.
Yeah. I think we're So guys, episode 16, we're gonna close. Again, we're gonna link the articles for the 2 lawsuits that CrossFit is involved with. If you have any other questions, leave them in the comments. We'll try to get back to you. For John, for Jarrett, I'm Chris. See you guys next time.